Well, welcome to episode 11. I think it's 11. This might end up being a bit long. I'm going to go over some stuff that I think I've missed out in some of the previous episodes. Some detail about the actual operation itself. This vlog is supposed to help people who are facing the same operation, so I figure I might as well make sure it's covered. A bit of an update on where I'm at the moment in terms of the process and what I'm waiting for. So, back to the op. Really easy process, you know. Getting taken in for the anaesthetic, which was essentially a epidural with a very fine needle. There was absolutely no pain getting the epidural. It was very light sedation. It was enough to bring my heartbeat down a bit, make me feel nice and relaxed, but fully aware of what was going on. I was reading a book, I was chatting with the anaesthetist. In terms of the actual operation itself, didn't feel a thing. Once they've got you with the anaesthetic in your back, obviously you lose sensation and control of your legs. They lay you on your side and then position you, and they've got these clamps. I'm guessing they're sort of padded T-shaped clamps that essentially hold your pelvis in one position on the bed so that they can get quite mechanistic with some of the work they've got to do. Nothing worse than trying to do detailed work when the workpiece keeps bobbing about all over the place. The only bit that was in any way uncomfortable was, for whatever reason, and I didn't find out why, they were having to hammer quite hard for me, more so than usual, to the extent where they commented on it. And when they were hammering, one of the clamps was digging into my groin quite, not quite painfully, just I was aware of it. So that was really the only discomfort. Everything else was absolutely no pain. Because of the angle I was lying at, I could actually see some of the work. Well, I could have done if I had my glasses on. I could see a blurry version of the work in a reflection in a window, which was really meant I saw some heads, and now and again I saw a flash of my leg. Didn't really see specifically what they were doing, but clearly, you know, they were reaming out the hole for the socket, and they were, you know, hammering the spike into the thigh and all that kind of stuff. But again, I was perfectly relaxed through it all. There was no challenge to it at all. It really has become clear the challenge is in learning to walk again. When I came down to the ward, obviously you're still suffering from the spinal block, or the nerve block, so you can't move your legs. In fact, that was quite comical. I was telling my toes to wiggle, and they were looking back at me and saying, "Sod off." And it struck me so hard that I've got a friend who's a paraplegic, who's quite the adventurer now, Karen Dark, does a lot of motivational speaking and travels all over the world doing amazing things. And I dropped her a message and said, "Look, whilst I understood from an academic perspective your condition before, I now understand it from an emotional condition, an emotional perspective as well. Looking at your legs, telling them to move, and they're not cooperating, just was the weirdest sensation." And then, of course, it starts to wear off. You're just scared to move everything. And I think a full 24 hours, probably, I'll lay on the bed without even attempting to move the operated on leg. And initially, there's quite a lot of pain if you do try and engage it in any way. Even just sort of pushing yourself up the bed a little bit, pushing your bum up the bed a little bit, even that is quite painful. But I was quite surprised at how quickly that converted into a bit of pain or a little pain. At first, it was the kind of thing where I was having to really kind of hold my breath to fight through it. But very quickly, it came to the point where, yes, I was a bit out of breath after having done it. And then very quickly after that, it was just, yeah, I've done it. So whilst that pain is quite high initially, it's surprising how quickly it reduces. Don't get me wrong, I can't walk on it without crutches. I'm standing here at the moment with one crutch on because I need my other hand for the phone. And to adjust my position, I've got to kind of lean on the wall and use the crutch and that kind of thing. So it's definitely a two-crutch job at the moment. But again, you know, on the day after the op, I was up on the Zimmer, and I thought, well, that's it, I need the Zimmer. And the following day, I was up on the crutches, and I thought, oh, I don't need the Zimmer, I just need the crutches. So quite easy to recover from that perspective. But the thing to remember is the muscles underneath the skin have all been cut, and the big muscles, thigh muscles, the bum muscles, gluteus maximus, or is that gladiator? I can't remember. So with them cut and restitched together, they don't have the same power that they had. So you try and send it signals, and they don't work the same way. So it takes a bit of getting used to. Showering's fine, you know, as long as I'm using a shower, there's handles and stuff like that. I can hang on, and I can actually stand with most of my weight on the good leg, fine enough to shower. But moving involves hanging on to handles to give me that triangulation. So, you know, if you're facing this operation, don't be fearful of the operation itself. It might seem scary, particularly if you're doing it the way I was required to do it, which was awake. It really isn't anything. Doesn't make a difference. But be prepared for some work when it comes to the recovery and some pain in the recovery. Right, where am I now in terms of getting out of here? So, as you'll be aware if you've been following these vlogs, I've been fighting a temperature battle. It seems to have come down to normal today. Sunday I had a chest x-ray, and a medical doctor came to see me and did an examination. That's medical instead of bone doctor. And he thought maybe a chest infection, but little evidence, went to check the x-ray, didn't get back to me. And then today, another one turned up, did exactly the same thing. I says, one of your colleagues has already done this. I got an x-ray on Sunday. Oh? Apparently they've lost it. So I don't know what's happening at the moment. But if that chest x-ray is found and is clear, then in theory, there's nothing stopping me getting home. But they still need the surgeon to give the go-ahead. And that's the bit I'm unsure about, because I don't know if he's even in today. That side of it I'm a bit cheesed off with. I can do with getting out of here. I think last night about midnight everybody had settled down for a sleep. I was wide awake, and not only was I wide awake, but in previous nights I'd kind of collapsed on the bed, and it was kind of like, oh. And it was easy to sort of nod off, even if it was only for 20 minutes, and wake up again. Oh, my GP wants me. I'll be back.